Everyone, myself Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual JForex, we will be looking at the logical component named position viewer. This is an component block which we can utilize to look at the current positions. It might be a pending position or it might be an open position, and we can see if we can look at its characteristics, and for further action we can design and develop the logically sound strategies which we then can utilize to optimize our trading and increase the profit. So here it is, position viewer. We will see on the Visual JForex board how we can customize this component and then use it for furthering the goal of our profit optimization. Here it comes, included under the logical blocks. So here it is, position viewer. This is an array of data, and couple of sessions back we had done a similar block, the loop viewer, that was also an array of data. And in case of the position viewer, we are going to have the multiple positions, and if suppose, for example, on your trading account, if there is one position for the USD gateway, another for say Dow Jones Industrial Average, another for Euro USD, so you have 3 running positions, and if you want to say set up the trailing stop loss for one of the position, and it should follow for that particular instrument only, and it should leave out the other 2 open position. In that kind of scenario, we have to rely on the position viewer to pick and choose the particular position of our interest and not the other 2. So in this kind of circumstances, we have to look at all the current open positions, and then looking at some characteristic for any particular position, we have to shortlist it. So here we will be having the array of data component, and we will first need to fill it up, and for that this is an position variable, and it will have the multiple positions being held at the same time. So all positions, or even open positions or pending positions, you can utilize any of these 3. So if you are working with, let us take multiple position viewer block, so that it will be easier for me also to explain to you how the array of data system works. So in one block we will put all the positions, in another we will put only open position, and in another the pending positions. We have to define the output values also. Let's say this one will be AAA. I'm randomly assigning the name. There is no particular logic behind the naming. BBB. And here this is going to be CCC. And you might have observed this is going to be the position, singular output will be taken, but when we are going for the input, that will be taking the multiple inputs. So that's the array of data's beauty. We take multiple inputs, and then we shortlist only one particular output depending on its characteristics, and we can then utilize that. And for that, now we haven't really seen any trading setup so far, and in due course of time we will also see that. But to give you clarity how the positions are generated, I will also include one trading block. Let's say open at market, and its output, whenever the conditions are fulfilled, we will have the output value, and this will be the position. But we can't really place this variable directly here. That the reason is that this is a different data type. It will be looking at only single position, and this is going to have multiple positions. So there is no match in between this, and because of that we can't really put it directly but we can access the same open position from this side of the panel, and we will have it under the open positions, all the open positions for this trade for any another trade. We will be able to access those data points from here, and then we will be in position to set up our logical structure. So here it will go in loop, continue. Now we are not joining this here. Actually, it will be whenever we are designing the setup, it will be differently taken into account. It will not be following this position viewer. Now, suppose if you want to access, for example, say there are multiple positions, and for one of the position we want to set up the uh, trailing step, that is the trailing stop loss setup, and it should not work on another positions. Suppose for example we want to trail only the Euro USD position, and in that scenario if we are going to look at the BBB's characteristic, we can look at its instrument, and we can try to match. Now here we will have the position instrument. What we can do is we take some logical blocks, if statement, and we take this position instrument. Okay, so the BBB is instrument. Only when the BBB instrument is equals to Euro USD, only then the block will allow the trailing step to come into play. If the position doesn't match, then nothing will happen. So let us find where is Euro USD. The finding of instrument is also an tricky job. Oh, it's taking too much time. Pardon me for this. Sometimes it gets frustrating. Okay, so this time around we will be able to find the Euro USD. Okay, we got it. So what happens here now, that only when the open positions instrument will match the Euro USD, only then the flow will move forward and the trade will happen. So we can set this condition that the first input should equal to the second input, only then the trading will happen. And if, for example, if there is no open position for Euro USD, but there is an open position for Dow Jones Industrial Average, in that case, because we have set the condition that the first input should be equal to the second input, nothing will happen. And if we design another setup for the Dow Jones Industrial Average separately, then that trade will happen. That setup will come into play, so we can do that also. And all we have to do is and it will work separately. This is going to work separately, so even we will need the multiple action block. What we will need to do is take the multiple action, give one flow to this condition, provide another flow to another condition, so it will work independently of each other. Now this time around we want to consider all the positions regardless of whether it is open position or pending position. In that scenario, again we can set this condition. So this is now going to take for the all the position whether there is this Dow Jones Industrial Average or not. And finding the particular instrument is not an easy job here. Till we will try this time and then we will. Okay, luckily, fortunately, we have found it straight away. So here we will be able to do the differentiation depending on the instrument of the position. We can also rely on other characteristic of any position. So we get all these characteristics, the position ID, position amount, close price. So you can read it and go through all these characteristics on your own as well. And we can also check whether the current position is buy side trade or the sell side trade, how far it has come from the opening price, what is the current stop loss price, and how much it is in profit, and also the other set conditions. Also, if we have set any particular time, then the time data can also be accessed, fill time, close price, creation time, etc. So all those characteristics of any position can be accessed, and for various position we can do that, and we can use this array of data for that end, so that we can trade better, we can design the systems better, which will bring in more and more profit for us. So that's it from my side for today's session. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write it to me in the feedback, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Stay tuned and do subscribe to the Dukascopy webinar channel, and thank you all for joining in. Goodbye.